Hi guys, good morning. So there's a thought going on in my mind for the last few months. Should we, in terms of government colleges, should we defund the academic subjects of sociology and English literature? I know that would be probably a hugely controversial thing to say, and probably would offend a lot of people. Maybe some of you are sociology graduates and English literature graduates here. Let me argue my case. And let me tell you that I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm not going to go on the street holding a placard that defund sociology right now. I'm bringing up a thought with some arguments. I would love to hear counter arguments why I'm wrong. But see, sociology has not really contributed to anything in India. Sociology department's main job has been to promote India's casteism in the West. As I have discussed in the end of my review of Bahubali, that when Americans are seeing RRR, each and almost 99% of the reviewers are saying that they had no idea that the British were so brutal to India. But I know that almost all Americans, I'll tell you 99.99% of Americans and British people and everyone in the first world country knows that India has a caste problem. So therefore, no one knows. See, I'd not be surprised if the British kids who were brought up in the British education system, they did not know that Indians were beaten up by British. But even the Americans don't know. They are learning it for the first time from watching a movie called RRR, that Indians were so brutalized by British people. But all of them know about caste. And who is to be blamed for this? Academics, authors. So let's say that they were really dedicated in solving the caste issue. In that sense, I would argue, what have they really achieved for 75 years? See, in my opinion, there are just two ways to solve the caste problem. One is the Savarkar way, that unite them as Hindus, ho gaya. Or bring in a free market economy in which no one gives a shit about your caste, because I want to hire you for the job. I can't hire you just because you are from my caste when there's another guy from a different caste waiting to do your job for lesser money. That's another way to solve caste. And if we are probably heading in a direction that we'll get best of these both worlds. So, and both of these ways of solving caste issue is heavily opposed by sociology professors, students, academics, authors, etc. Because maybe it will entirely debunk their myths, and it's essentially their main profession. It's their bread and butter, talking about caste and writing papers after papers after papers. They have been writing papers for 75 years and they haven't solved caste. And BJP has kind of solved it in UP already. Everyone was bringing up caste-based political parties. Everyone was bringing up caste-based electoral candidates. And sociology students and professors are just going on writing papers, and while giving direct or indirect support to Christian missionaries to convert them. So what have they really gotten us? Now, I'm never saying that sociology should be banned in India. I'm saying sociology is essentially an anti-India and anti-Hindu subject. Because, okay, let me tell you another funny thing that sociology teaches. They teach Savarkar's Hindutva ideologies. They don't teach Savarkar's stand on caste. They teach Ambedkar's stand on caste. They don't teach Ambedkar's Ambedkar's comments on Islam. Now, you may argue, what's Ambedkar's comments on Islam got to do with sociology? I would argue because whether Islam could be considered an issue in some level, or a little bit of a problem maybe. In that sense, maybe we should discuss Ambedkar's views on Islam. But the bigger argument would be, if Ambedkar's views on Islam is not taught in sociology, why are you teaching Savarkar's views on Hindutva? So there are lots of such magnificently evil biases that sociology students get. But I'm never saying ban the subject. All I'm saying is, Hindus, who are the biggest taxpayers in the country, they don't have to pay for their own defamation. I think government colleges should stop teaching sociology. That's all. Just government colleges. There's another reason for that. Why? Who studies sociology? Is it a poor farmer's kid? Is it a lower middle class villager who runs a shop, his kid? It's the urban, educated, middle/upper middle class kids who study sociology. and they are the ones who study it for fucking free on the taxpayers of the rest of the country, on the tax paid by the rest of the country, and who are mostly Hindus. Let's bunk that topic angle for now. But we are subsidizing middle class and upper middle class students with the tax paid by everyone in the country, and pretending like it's some sort of service for the poor people. No, you can afford a private education. You can afford to go to a private college. If you want to study sociology, study it in lovely professional university. Study it in any private college. You are free to do that. You will be hired as professors even if you pass out from those colleges. Don't study it with my money. That's all I'm saying. And it's not like sociologists are not hardworking. It's not like the professors are not hardworking. It's not like the students are hardworking. I'm saying they're hardworking. They're very efficient at what they are trying to achieve. And whether the students understand this or not, but it's essentially an anti-Hindu ideology unless you start teaching Indian authors. Let me tell you this nice story. If you have read J. Deepak's book, India That Is Bharat, there's about 4 or 5 authorities on decoloniality that he mentions and quotes extensively. One of them is a professor called, a Peruvian sociologist called Ramon Grosfoguel. I was checking out a lecture by Ramon Grosfoguel, and he says that how did we get here? that why are there so many westernized universities all over the country, all over the world? And he says, I'm not talking about Western universities, I'm specifically talking about westernized universities. He's saying that. And he gives the example that whether you go to Singapore, whether you go to England, whether you go to Germany, whether you go to New Delhi, any sociology classroom's door you open and you go see what is being taught, just books and thoughts written by men of 5 countries: Germany, France, England, USA, and some other country. I don't remember the exact context. But and he's saying that represents 12% of the whole world. Why are you teaching just this 12%, the European view of the world, in every sociology classroom in the world? Where's your sociologists? Where are your local indigenous thinkers? Now they will say we are not indigenous, we are Aryans who invaded, obviously, because we are Hindus. At least I'm not Brahmin, so maybe I got oppressed by Brahmins and I became Hindu. But so that's another reason why they stick to their argument that Aryan invasion happened, because then otherwise their entire business model fails. But if people like Sri Aurobindo and all are taught in sociology, then or many other Indic thought-oriented sociologists, at least Indian, all they're reading is Kant and Ambedkar because he criticized Hindus. That's their favorite part. Someone criticizes Hindus, bring him in the fold. That's the qualification. But if Ambedkar's views on Islam were taught, Presidency University would burn down. Okay, on that context, let me explain to you why Presidency University is a bastion for leftists. See, what does the word presidency mean? It's the Bengal presidency, it's the Madras presidency, it's the Bombay presidency. What's common among these 3 localities is that these 3 places had the highest investment from British government in the education system. And what's also common among these 3 cities is that these 3 cities are essentially anti-Hindu and Marxist, because their cultural forefathers left, and so they were left with just the other European thinker. So and that Bengal presidency's own university is called Presidency University. And what else do you expect from that? So it's like the Nazis have been defeated, and there was a university founded by Nazis, and it's called the Nazi University. And when people pass out from that, you find that those students curiously have some inclination for Nazi values. So it's obvious. It's the British government's presidency. Their presidency's college is the Presidency College. It's the Presidency University, and that's why their students think like that. Now, what's the issue with English literature? I think English literature has done the same crimes that sociology has done, and you know that Bible is taught in English literature syllabus. So that's I think now I'm not saying that Bible should not be taught in English literature, because the English language has essentially been derived from the Bible, so it has to be taught. But I'm saying that it molds people in a certain way that's detrimental and counterproductive to Indians and Hindus, and especially because you are studying in those colleges for free, in colleges like Jadavpur University, Presidency, or any other government college, and you are studying those subjects for free which only middle class and upper middle class people are studying, which subjects which are not known to produce great jobs. No one is going to go looking for, hey, I need a sociologist. Can you give me a sociologist? I really need it for my company. No, and I'm not saying that academics are useless. Sociologists, if they did some Indian education, they would have their place in society. So it's essentially the same problem with English literature. It's being studied on taxpayer money. It's being studied by people who can afford private education, and it's being studied by people who are coming out and taking counterproductive measures for India and Hindus, and whose education is being funded majorly by Hindus. So since poor people don't study sociology and English literature, since they need actual jobs to continue their life, why shouldn't English literature and sociology be taught only in private universities? I am never going to say it should be banned. All I'm saying is reduce government expenditure. Do you know how much money the government, the state governments, the central governments would save if they didn't teach sociology with public money? Imagine the amount of money that would be saved. Just 2 subjects, English literature and sociology. Think about it and let me know. Ponder on it. Maybe you can comment a few days later. Maybe you can discuss this with other people a few days later after you have given it a deep thought, because it's a pretty controversial thing to say. So make sure you don't get in trouble. I hope I don't get into trouble. I don't know what trouble I'll get into. I'm not a famous person. But make sure, I hope no one thinks I am a fucking lunatic or a right-wing fringe. But it needs to be given thought, because A, the amount of money that will be saved. B, I'm not banning it. You are free to study it with your own money. C, it's being studied by people who can afford it anyway. 4, it's detrimental to Hindus and India while being paid by Hindus and India.